Hi there, and the World Cup qualifiers are truly making the headlines all over the globe, and nowhere bigger than Sao Paulo right now, where we have seen absolutely extraordinary scenes between Brazil and Argentina. Yes, Argentina have walked off the pitch, and for more details we're joined live from Brazil by our South American expert Tim Vickery. Tim, very good evening to you. Just give us the background on these players and the fact that the authorities have come on the pitch.
Well, this is all to do with the Premier League. Argentina have 4 Premier League players in their squad, 3 of whom started the game, what we saw about 5 minutes of. Lo Celso and Romero of Tottenham, and Martinez, the goalkeeper of Aston Villa. When they arrived in Brazil, they didn't tell the authorities that they had been in the UK within the last 14 days. And the regulations in Brazil, in the same way that Brazil is on the red list for the UK is on the red list for Brazil. And people who have been there in the last 14 days who are not Brazilian have to have are being accused by the Brazilian health authorities of giving false information at the airport. The Argentine players went to their hotel. The health authorities were there waiting for a position from the Brazilian government, a waiver, if you like. That didn't come. Argentina, backed up, they think, by the South American football authorities, said that they would only play the game with the participation of these Premier League players. The game kicked off, and after around 5 minutes, officials of Brazil's health authorities walked onto the field to try and apprehend those Premier League players. Argentina walked off at that stage, and since then we've had lots of negotiations of lots and toing and froing, and it would seem that Argentina will not return to the field and this game will not be played today.
So, Tim, why wait until the players go onto the pitch? Is that because they had to get that necessary permission from the government? It seems they could have been intercepted earlier in the changing rooms before they go out onto the pitch. It's very dramatic to see players being hauled off the pitch.
It is, yeah. Brazilian TV have said that the dressing room was locked before the game, preventing the health authority officials from getting into the dressing room. Also, a lot of things going on backstage here. Would the Brazilian government give a waiver that was applied during the Copa America that was played here in June and July? The health officials were waiting for that. In the end, I suppose we're left in a situation with an excess of zeal and a deficit of common sense, because straight after the game, these players were going to leave Brazil anyway and go back home to prepare for Thursday's game at home to Bolivia. Instead, one of the great occasions in world football, one of the great rivalries, has today been rendered into a farce.
Yeah, am I right in thinking that a lot of people would take a dim view of this as well, given we are in the middle of a pandemic, given that, am I right in thinking that quite a few of the Brazil players aren't playing because of COVID?
Yeah, Brazil called up 9 Premier League players. None of those players were released. I think now we can understand one of the reasons that Brazil took a softly approach to this. And perhaps they had knowledge that non-Brazilian Premier League players were not going to be allowed in. Really, the problem here is trying to fit everything in the calendar. They went ahead with a Copa America, an extra Copa America in June and July. The problems were obvious, the problems to come. You'll remember that some of the players and some of the coaches made it clear that they were playing that Copa America under protest, not only because of the pandemic, but also because they felt that time would be better employed catching up on World Cup qualification. As it stands, we've tried to fit 3 litres into a bottle that only holds 2. Something had to give. It's given today in Sao Paulo.
Yeah, and what do you think FIFA's stance is going to be on this, Tim? Because, as you say, there's a lot of World Cup qualifiers to be called up on. How do you think this is going to play out?
It's a very, very awkward one for FIFA, because this one today, what happened today, is not European clubs versus South American national teams. This is an internal problem of how the pandemic is being handled, the rules in South America, specifically in Brazil. And the health officials here, what they have done is upheld the rules. And they are saying that the Argentines gave false information when they arrived in the country. Now, these are serious matters. So this is very, very difficult for FIFA, because this extrapolates football. And with the calendar at the moment so crowded, it's not easy to work out if this game will go ahead. Will it be awarded to Brazil on a walkover? If it is going to be rescheduled, when is it going to be rescheduled? This is a real headache for the game's administrators.
Yeah, and so many of these South American players playing their football in Europe. You mentioned the Premier League players, so I presume that they will go back at some point, and then we could face this situation all over again quite soon.
Well, we got it again in October, because October is another triple header, 3 rounds of games, meaning that the third game will end on the Thursday night and the players won't be back for the weekend. But surely by October we'll have better planning. Surely people will sit down and work out a more rational way to do this, because what's happened today is absolute farce and a disgrace.
We're looking at pictures at the moment, Tim, of the Brazil team in the centre circle. They're stretching, they're trying to keep warm. No sign of Argentina. Do we take it that this game is now just going to be abandoned? What is going on in the tunnel behind the scenes?
Well, it looks like it. The news I have is that Argentina have said that they will not return to the field. Brazil's physical preparation specialist has taken advantage of this to say, all right, let's use this time just to have some stretching exercises, remembering that Brazil have another game on Thursday when they host Peru.
Brilliant. Tim, for your time this evening, thank you very much.
Thank you.